Alrighty. So here, like on the bottom, I could factor out a 2, and I would be left with x plus 3. So it's really 2 times the quantity x plus 3. So the best common denominator is going to be 2 times the quantity x plus 3, which now all I need to multiply the bottom by is x plus 3 instead of like 2x plus 6. So it makes the numbers smaller. So if you can factor the denominator, any of the denominators, you should do it, and then you can see the different factors and parts of it, so you can multiply by smaller parts. So see this left one, I don't have to simplify it all. It's just 2x plus 4 over, I'm going to write 2 times x plus 3. I like it in factored form. And now we're subtracting off, distribute that 3 to everything. So it's 3x plus 9 over 2 times x plus 3. Because we have common denominators, now I can actually subtract the numerators. And we are subtracting, so remember to be careful. We're subtracting off the 3x and we're subtracting off the 9, so that's the same as adding a negative 3x and a negative 9. So let's combine like terms. For x's, I get negative 1x or negative x. For the numbers, I get negative 5. On the bottom, I get 2 times x plus 3, because remember, we don't actually do anything with the bottom, we just bring the common denominator down. And so there we are, and we can't really factor anything out, so you could factor out a negative 1 on top, but that's not going to cancel with anything on the bottom. So there we are. Let's look for a common denominator on the bottom. But before you do that, see if you can factor anything out. Of this denominator, I can factor out a 2k. That leaves me with 5k plus 2. Now this left side already has a 2k, so all I need to multiply the left side by to match this right side, which you could think of as this, because this is equivalent to that, is this 5k plus 2. So least common denominator was 5k plus 2 times 2k. And so then my new numerator on the left is going to be 20k plus 8 over the common denominator of 5k plus 2, all of that times 2k. We're adding that to this k plus 1 over that same common denominator, which I'm going to write in factored form. It may help with reducing in the end, but you can't worry about that until you actually simplify this into one fraction. So when I combine like terms, I get 21k because there is a 1 in front of this k. 21k plus 9 over 5k plus 2 times 2k. You don't really need that in parentheses. So now see if you can factor the top. See if you can get a common factor. You can factor out a 3, so we get 3 times 7k plus 3. Unfortunately, the factors on the top do not match any of the factors on the bottom. So once again, womp womp. This is all we can do. It's kind of a bummer. I really like these to cancel out, but they just don't. Now your answer key is going to have these, now that they're factored apart, they're going to actually multiply them together. So the top is going to be 21k plus 9, and the bottom is going to be 10k squared plus 4k. But you need to have it factored to know if you can cancel anything out, and then we can take a final step to put it back together. Number 7, so here you can't factor any of the denominators, so you just need to multiply them together to get the least common denominator. And so I need to multiply the left one by m plus 1. So I need to multiply this by m plus 1. You know what? I'm moving this. I've had enough. I'm moving it. You know what? I've still had enough. I'm moving it down a little further. I think you'll have some workspace to do what I'm about to do. Are you excited for what I'm about to do? So to get that common denominator, I need to multiply the bottom left by m plus 1 to match my least common multiple. What I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. Now this all is going to get distributed with this. So we have to hug the m minus 5. And then, folks, we need to distribute. So instead of doing the multiplication down here, because I need to simplify or multiply together the top here before I can combine it with this part up here that has more to do, I'm going to actually do the distribution up top. So I get m squared because it's closer to the top when I'm working up here. That's kind of a nitpicky thing. I don't care if you do this. I don't care where you put your work as long as I can eventually see it, follow your process. So here we get positive 1m and we get negative 5, which simplifies to m squared minus 4x minus 5. So on top, I have this. This is my left top, my top left. So that's m squared minus 4x minus 5 over m plus 1 times m plus 6. That's getting added with, I need to still create that common denominator before I can add things together. So I need to multiply the bottom right by m plus 6. What I do to the bottom, I have to do to the, you got at the top. So I'm going to distribute this 3m to both of those, and that gives me 3m squared plus 18m. So I have 3m squared plus 18m over that common denominator of m plus 1 times m plus 6. Now we can actually add these fractions together because they have a common denominator that we created. Woohoo! So I'm adding this, combine like terms. I can only combine m squared with m squared, so I get 4, but I use a different color, 4m squared. Combine the m's with the, that should be an m. Combine the m's with the m's, you get positive 14m. Combine the numbers with the numbers, there is no number to combine with, negative 5, so there we are. Now maybe we can simplify this and factor this polynomial right here. So you'd have to factor it using a diamond because it's a trinomial, but we have a leading coefficient, so we have to multiply a times c. So we get negative 20, and adding to 14, that's not factorable. That's too bad. So this is the final answer, or you can FOIL together the bottom to get m squared plus 7m plus 6. Last one. This one you could factor a 5 out. Ooh. So you get 5 times x minus 3. But that really doesn't help because 5 nor x minus 3 is a factor over there. So if you want, you can just multiply this by 15x minus 3, minus 15, excuse me. So that's going to be our least common denominator, x minus 2 times 15x minus 5x minus 15. 5, get out of here. 5x minus 15. I don't know why I started on the right side, but I did. And then you'd have to multiply this by x minus 2. So distribute that through, you get, on the left side, you get 4x squared minus 8x. On the right side, you're going to get 20x minus 60. And on this, we are adding the GCFs. We're adding the numerators together. See the plus sign right there? So on the top, we're going to get 4x squared because there's nothing to combine with the x squared term right here. Combine the x's, you get 12x. Nothing to combine with a negative 60, so you bring it down. That's all over x minus 2 times. I'm going to factor out that 3 now. Remember from this? I'm going to put that out in front. It's okay, you can do that because multiplication, you can rearrange the order. So you get x minus 3 there. X minus 5. So now I'm going to try to factor this trinomial that has a leading coefficient of 4. So I'm looking for numbers that multiply to negative 240 and add to 12. And I don't think that's possible. No. See how they, no. So it's not. That's too bad. So this is our final answer. Bada bing, bada boom.